I think computer science, it starts from a very foundational and theoretical ground, and it will probably require you to think a little bit more logically and mathematically, if you like, about the discipline and the algorithms. Whereas the information technology course, I believe, is geared towards the application of certain principles across different contexts. And so one way to think about it is, let's suppose that you have a car racing team. So the scientist, in this case the computer scientist, will have to understand how the engine works, how combustion works, and that will be extremely important for the performance of the team. Whereas the engineers or the people that are applying that knowledge in context are basically putting those pieces together, and that's also extremely important, but in a way different. It kind of requires a different mindset, and I think those different mindsets are what the two courses emphasize.
The difference between the Monash software engineering degree and the software development major is that in the software engineering degree you learn about how to build these very complex systems that need guaranteed quality attributes. For example, if you're going to build an airplane or a car, you cannot just sit and start developing code. You need a more systematic engineering approach to building these complex systems.
The difference between software engineering and computer science is a bit about the mindset of how you approach solving problems. So computer science emphasizes a little bit more the scientific aspects, and that means understanding at a very foundational level and in a lot of detail how some of these individual pieces work. Algorithms, the mathematical properties of those algorithms, and then eventually they become computer programs. The engineers, on the other hand, they understand those individual pieces, but they are particularly focused on putting them together so that we can actually use them. So to give you an example that we're all familiar with, if I put out my phone and look up for an address on the map, then there are aspects that are very foundational. For example, the destinations are going to be nodes in a graph, and I need a particular way to start thinking about the routes through that map, and that's very scientific in spirit. On the other hand, we will also have tons of people using that piece of software at the same time. So that means we need to be able to take all that foundational knowledge and put it together in a way that scales up to the demand, that deals with all the amounts of data that we have. So that second part is more the engineering aspect of the discipline.